This entire neighborhood has been leveled. The fire has taken out every house here. And now all of these Chico firefighters and search and rescue personnel are looking for bodies.
We have a list of people that have not been found by their family members. A lot of people don't want closure. So it's extremely important. Doing the job that we do, we're working with fire departments and search and rescue from all over the state.
And what are your methods when you're out there? How do you do it?
You have a particular structure, which is almost everyone in this town, that is burned to the ground. You have so much heat that actually the bone fragments are exactly that. They're fragments. They're very small. So you got to be very precise. That's where the dogs come in really handy.
And so have you discovered any human remains the last couple of days?
We have discovered them, yes, unfortunately. I mean, it's sad because when you look at where they're located, I mean, every body, if you think about it, tells a story of what happened. You can see a body could be close to an exit or down a hallway or whatever that location is. You can see their struggle to survive, and it's sad seeing that.
Evacuation area is getting bigger, so I urge people to pay attention. If they are urged to evacuate, please do so.
This is the epicenter of the so-called Camp Fire, the deadliest, most destructive wildfire in the state's history. At least 80 people have died, and nearly 20,000 buildings are destroyed. CAL FIRE led more than 5,000 deployed firefighters on 24-hour shifts, with support from local departments and private contractors across the country.
All right, good morning. Jonathan Pangburn, Fire Behavior Analyst with CAL FIRE Team 4. It has been 211 days since this area last received half an inch of rain. 211 days. Want to make sure we realize it has jumped a 300-foot lake at least 3 times.
Yeah, we're at the spot, probably about a quarter acre, slow rate of spread. There could potentially be a second, so we're going to put this one out and get eyes on the second.
Fires are going later and are burning more intense later on in the year than they used to. They're all kind of becoming, I hate to use the fancy term, the new normal, but something's happening that's a little different.
Those are 1448, pull back to radio. Headed off down into the drain.
So you can hear it, and you can see it.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah, you can see it.
Down to the river right here. They're picking up 2,000 to 3,000 gallons of water, and then they fly it right over here where the fire is spreading, dump all the water, come back here and do it all over again. They're basically just racing this fire, trying to put it out. For somebody who's unfamiliar with the history of wildfires in California, and this one specifically, how destructive has this fire been?
Since this is my home, it's a little difficult. This has been the most destructive fire in California's recorded history. During the course of this calendar year, over 1.6 million acres has burned in the state of California. So get a little tired of the records.
Why was this fire so destructive and so deadly?
Keep in mind, we had a drought start way back in 2012. It honestly has not stopped. The embers that were cast by this fire were pushed well out ahead of this fire, and every ember landed and started a new fire. So you had 50 to 60 mile per hour winds pushing this fire right off the get-go. It started out, the first site on it was 10 acres. Football field lengths in a matter of seconds.
I heard 80 football fields in a minute. It's crazy. You can't outrun that.
No. Oh, no. No, you're not going to make it.
"52,000 people were evacuated from surrounding areas, flooding nearby towns and cities, and hundreds landed in parking lots like this one." We're walking through the Walmart parking lot right now in Chico. We have domestic refugees here. It's a really kind of strange thing to see in your own state. Rudy Milashenko is a school bus driver who was finishing his shift when Paradise was evacuated.
It was a bus route from hell in Paradise, is the way I've described it.
North of Highway 70 is mandatory evacuation zone.
This is the very beginning of the fires, okay?
What's so striking about this, it says 9:11 a.m. and it's pitch dark.
It's pitch dark. Everything was so black, I couldn't even tell where I was, and I go this route every day.
Holy smokes, that's right next to me. Oh my gosh.
You're in bumper-to-bumper traffic and the fire's right on the side of the road. Did you think, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't make it?
This one scared me.
Looks like a 100-foot tree on fire right in front of you. Could you feel the heat?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I'm back at my bus yard finally, and I see that this vehicle's starting to catch fire. And right here are all the gas tanks for the buses. I'm feeling like this is not safe. I got to get out of here. Anyway, I can see the school starting to catch fire and stuff. And I'm sorry. I didn't know what was going to happen then, but
oh no, that's where Bob Carley lives. Oh no.
As the town evacuated, some cars ran out of gas, others were engulfed in flames. So as residents tried to escape on the few roads out of Paradise, they got stuck.
Heavenly Father, please help us. Please help us to be safe.
Oh my God. With the fire mostly contained, one of the big questions for these residents now is, how did the fire start? While investigations take months, CAL FIRE is examining electrical equipment operated by the largest utility company in the state, PG&E.
You know, this was someone's home, right? That's what is lost in all of this, is that there was a home and a family and a life here.
John Fisk, who litigated against PG&E for damages in the 2017 wildfires, is already representing residents who are suing the company for the Camp Fire. Do you have any indication of what caused this fire?
We're starting to receive news reports that this fire may involve PG&E equipment. And so right now we're looking at PG&E as a potential defendant, especially considering its track record.
California's largest utility is found guilty in a criminal trial from the San Bruno pipeline explosion in 2010.
PG&E has been ordered to pay citations totaling more than $8 million for safety violations tied to one of the most destructive wildfires in California history.
PG&E power lines are linked to at least 2 of the wine country wildfires.
In the last several years, PG&E has caused several very large-scale fires, going back to the San Bruno explosion, the Butte fire of 2015, the North Bay fires of 2017. It seems like it's almost every year. And so knowing that PG&E is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, we look to see whether or not PG&E is putting those resources towards safety first. We do know that PG&E has reported to the California Public Utilities Commission that there was a problem with one of its lines about 15 minutes prior to the start of the fire. You've potentially got notice and you failed to power down and you failed to fix that equipment. If it turns out that PG&E's equipment is the cause and origin of the fire, it's going to be a large multi-billion-dollar liability. And when you see some of the most destructive fires caused by utilities, it comes to a head in the political system.
Just before the Camp Fire, the state legislature heard arguments over who should pay the billions in damages caused by downed power lines in the 2017 Napa-Sonoma fires. The state utility regulator, Governor Brown, and PG&E argued that because climate change has increased the risk and severity of wildfires, utilities should no longer be held strictly liable and should only be responsible for damages when a fire is caused by their negligence or wrongdoing.
The severity of the danger is only heightened by climate change, with storms of increasing frequency that can topple poles and snap power lines.
And you're arguing that maybe it's not climate change that's causing the risk?
No, the way PG&E has designed its infrastructure causes the spark. Climate change may exacerbate the situation. It's all the more reason why we need to be protective of homeowners and ask these companies to ask themselves, is our system designed and used in a way that reduces that risk?
That's what residents like Terry Wilcox are asking. The day before the fire, PG&E sent out emergency flyers warning residents that they might cut power due to high-risk fire conditions.
This is important notice. The emergency may shut off for safety. That was one on our door that afternoon when we came home. And the fire started at 6:30 the next morning. This is, please take steps now to ready for your emergency plan. To protect the public safety, we may need to temporarily turn off electricity in your neighborhood.
So then did they turn off the power?
No. I know how these power lines are, and there's ones that are weak or whatever. Yeah. Once those two top lines are 30,000 volts hit together, boom, it blows a transformer, throws sparks. It's like lightning or something. They should have shut off their power.
PG&E declined an interview, but reminded us that the cause of the fire is still under investigation and said they're focused on supporting residents at this time. While they haven't been held responsible, there is a growing distrust of the company among many consumers. But if they are found responsible, the solution isn't as simple as them just coughing up billions of dollars. Michael Wara is a leading expert on climate and energy policy at Stanford University.
We won't know if PG&E is held responsible for this campfire for probably several months. If they are, can they afford it?
If PG&E is responsible for this fire, the company is likely to have to seek bankruptcy protection. Not so much a question anymore of whether PG&E could pay for what happened last year or what happened last week. It's a question of whether investors want to invest money in a company that could generate the same kind of loss next year and the year after and the year after that. We have a situation where the world is creating a context in which the utilities can't make money unless we fix the problem. The drought that occurred over the last decade was something like a 1 in 1,000 year event. So we have dead trees all over the landscape. When a utility line causes a fire and you add climate change on top of that, instead of being a fire that can be managed and put out and contained, it turns into something that very quickly spins out of control. I do think that we need to really be re-examining kind of how the system is designed and operated in a pretty radical way.
What would those improvements be?
Well, imagine a world in which the homes in wildfire country had a solar panel on their roof and a battery in their garage, such that when PG&E felt the slightest desire to turn the power off, it could, and there would be no impact on customers. Part of the dynamic that occurred in Paradise was that PG&E thought about turning off the power, but didn't. I think the idea that we're going to get to some level of perfection that's acceptable using the traditional approaches of like trimming the trees better and inspecting the lines more is just not credible, because the situation we're up against in terms of risk is just too extreme. The consequences for one mistake are too large.
Evacuees are being allowed to go back to Paradise for the first time after the campfire. Many are returning to nothing as flames decimated the entire town.
The state's insurance commissioner says the losses are staggering.
I mean, I just think you're prepared to see something, but you just too many memories. Just growing up in such a beautiful area.
Oh my God.
Watching the kids play here, just about a blink of an eye, it's all gone.
I'm trying to get a context. It's hard for me to, because that was the driveway, and we always went in the back. Oh, so that probably led up to the house. So this is probably...
What we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 decades as the population of California has gone from 25 million people to now we're at close to 40 million people. We've put that extra increment of population into places that maybe weren't safe. The home insurers are going to start to feel that they don't want to insure homes in wildfire country. I think the average person is going to have to make some different choices about where they live and probably not live, in places like Paradise.
Are you going to rebuild?
No. I've never owned a place. So I got to own a place for a year. This place is the loss of the world, I wish you could have been here before, because it was an oasis.